Welcome back for another training game. Relatively quick. E4. Someone comes from Kosovo. I feel like an Alekhine. Alekhine or Alekhine, depending on who you are speaking to. Been trying to play a lot of classical E4, E5 openings, but I'm a long-time Alekhine player and Sicilian. I played a lot of Sicilian as well. Um, trying to broaden my horizons a little bit, but I feel like going back to the old stomping grounds with Alekhine. Alekhines. Give them a quick peek. They've been on chess.com for about a year, and they've lost once to me before. We have played previously. Okay. I would love to see a four pawns attack. It's been a while since I've got to play against one of those. Oh, ask and you shall receive. How kind of him. So there's a couple of different ways I can play this. I can take, he'll take back with the F pawn. I can develop my knight and pile up some pressure on the D4 pawn. He'll develop a bishop. That's usually main line. Because if he develops this knight, I will pin it and continue the pressure. There's this really tricky line that is kind of dubious that I also really like to play because it's super confusing. I like to push c5 here. And I think I'm going to. It encourages this push. And I'm really trying to get him to overextend. I may have already posted a game with this in it. It hasn't been that long ago since I played it. So I think like the accurate moves here would be to develop with g6 and feed cut the bishop. But this move is a little bit tricky. It kind of invites this, but if he isn't careful and doesn't think about the fact that I just opened up the queen, he can run into a lot of trouble just like that. Because I have this check now. And that is monstrous. He basically has to move his king now because this runs into the old check and fork trick. So he's got to move his king, and all of his central pawns are pushed. Wherever he moves it to, I'm going to check and pick up this pawn, and this pawn is going to be left undefendable. So I'm going to grab two pawns. And he's not going to be able to castle. So the main line here, I know he shouldn't play for cheap tricks, but people have fallen into this one so frequently. The main line would have just been to develop one of the knights instead of pushing this pawn. It would have either blocked the check or blocked this square so that this would have been manageable. And he shouldn't be too worried about me taking there because he takes back. He has two pawns in the center, and they're pretty extended. It is a challenge for white to defend them, but black is kind of cramped. And I kind of wonder if he's so frustrated with himself right now that he's just gonna let the clock run. That would be an understandable emotional state, but I hope he plays on. Okay. So check. Yeah, check. Win the pawn, and then win the other pawn. Gonna have to go here because if he comes back over here, it's gonna be a check again, and I think he has to realize that. Get developed. Not very appealing for him to swap queens, being down two pawns. I'm okay with that, but I guess he is too. Okay, plans on coming over here. To attack my undefended bishop. If I retreat the bishop, he's got this fork. So perhaps I should keep him out of that square. But maybe I can do it by developing instead. Do I really want to swap off my bishop with the knight? I mean, I am up two pawns, but giving him the bishop pair in a wide open board, I think I'll do it with the pawn. Just because I'd like to keep my bishop here. This isn't terribly weakening either. Weakens this knight, but uh, he's not going to get to attack it. Come here to try and threaten again. Okay. Am I going to give him back a pawn? Looks like I am going to give him back a pawn. But that's okay. Could defend it again. I could just come here. Or here. I do like this one instead. Frees up this bishop. Or not the bishop. It frees up the pawn push. So maybe I can open up the king this night. Yeah, I don't have to give back a pawn. I think that holds together. It wouldn't have been the end of the world if I did have to, but I like this better. It gives me chances to um, open up the position. Okay, now he's threatening knight here. I don't know that I'm too worried about that. I could trade if he checks me, get the rook down here, threaten the rook. Hmm. Or I could castle. Gonna do that. Now he is free to plant his knight there, but to what end? Yes, that does defend this square. For a third time. Okay, kingside pawn storm. Get developed. Let's get our pieces out. I'm behind in development. Go here to stop my knight from coming in. He can continue his idea to push the H pawn. Okay. Now I have to decide whether I'm going to let him continue pushing and drive a nail into my position, or am I going to create a hook or a target? I give him the nail. I let him push, and I give him the nail. Move my rook. I back my bishop up. Defend this square. If I give him a hook, maybe here with the king instead. I don't really like either one of those options. Maybe I should have gone h5 to stop it. Hmm. To continue with my own plans, let him drive that nail in. He takes, I take, bishop takes, knight check, king back, either place. My knights attacked twice. What about this? It doesn't really threaten anything. If I swap off his knight, I give him an open G file. That does not look attractive. There's this as well. Just getting ahead of the nail. Yeah, I think that's smart. Now I need to get this bishop developed. Maybe I go b6 instead of b5. I did that just to add some support here. I want to think about moving this knight away. And I don't want to worry about losing a pawn in the process. I mean, it's very tempting to just pry that open. I may end up doing that. Okay, he's going to come here with a knight. He's threatening this. Bring my rook back. Bring my knight here to defend it. If I defend there with my knight, he's got bishop here. I've got a knight backing it up. Now my rooks are connected. Okay, so I feel better about my position. Starting to catch up in development a little bit. I got two pawns, but at the cost of development. Okay, expected that. What about here? Defending and inviting a rook trade. Maybe. Yeah. Simplify. If I go into an in-game two pawns up, I'm probably going to win. So So this and the rook defends. Now this square, I can think about a knight here. Check. Chizzity chizek. Working. It's an attractive move. You can check me here. And maybe I can think about giving up the bishop. I come here, he swaps off bishops. Though I'm happy getting rid of that dark square bishop with this weakness. That's all right by me. Okay, he just moves the king to avoid the fork. I mean, do I swap rooks? Attack the bishop. Opens this bishop, attacks this bishop. I mean, he doesn't have time to come here immediately, I don't think. If he does, I think I can do this now. No. I mean, I take the bishop, obviously. And if I take that, I'm threatening to take this. Comes here to defend, can take this way. Swapping pieces. And you're up material, swap pieces. Okay. If I take here, I abandon my square here. So takes bishop, rook takes. Very nice diagonal for me. The knight defends. I think that's the right move. Just trying to simplify. I mean, he could go here immediately and threaten my bishop. Then I take there. I have this move, threatening the bishop, blocking the rook's line of sight. He can come here to kick after he moves the bishop away somewhere, maybe back here. Then I get the rook. He's got to swap rooks. That's attractive. Like some material's coming off the board here, no matter what. He backs the rook off to protect it. If he stacks rooks to protect it, I get the bishop. This bishop defends the rook as well as the rook, so I'm not worried about a battery on the D file. This material is going to come off the board. And the more material it does, the more comfortable my position. If he moves the bishop this way, can I think about this? He attacks my knight. I win his knight with the check. He takes, I take, he takes, I take. So still bishop and rook. My rook's eyeing this. Might be able to get away with that. If he moves the knight away with the rook here to try and defend, I guess he could do this. He could defend this way. You could look at defending his bishop. I don't think he wants to give it up, though. It makes the most sense to move it. Maybe moves it here and here. He really wants it on this diagonal. I think this, and this achieves the same thing, though. And keeps the bishop a little safer. Okay. So for the moment, let's see. This is undefended. This is defended once and attacked once. If I do come rook here, rook d4, bishop e5, bishop takes e4 check. to the corner, maybe. Then rook takes pawn. No, the knight has to take back. Knight has to take the bishop back. And then knight. Wait a minute. So rook d4. I'm threatening both the knight and the pawn. If he tries to drive he doesn't have time to drive the rook away because I get to take with check. And if he doesn't take it back, I take the pawn. Bishop still defended. I give up this file. Maybe he comes rook here. And I do have back rank problems with this nail. What about this? Pawn here. Yeah. Oh, and the knight's already the knight's already guarding that square. So that would be a blunder. What's my play? I'm down on time now. 3 minutes 56 to 3:07. So let's think. Let's have a think. But not for too long. I think I swapped once. I keep simplifying. I'll give the bishop pair back, give the bishop pair up, and just get pieces off the board. If I can trade off everything, this 2-on-4 is going to spell doom for white. As long as I can play an end game, which is not a foregone conclusion. $332 to $242, particularly with time trouble. My end game needs work. Might do some tactical drills on end games and end game positions for some videos in the future, because I need to work on that. I struggle mightily. I am not under any delusion about that. Okay, he's going to give up the pawn. But my rook can just come back and take control of the file again. So I don't know what I'm worried about there. And his rook can't come anyway because his bishop is hanging. Now I'm up 3 pawns. Here. Yeah, let's just come back here. I didn't pay very close attention there. That square bishop there does take away my rook intermezzo. I might have been better off putting the knight there immediately to block the file. If I come here, king here, rook here, this defending the bishop. If the rook does by chance make it down here, don't know that that's going to happen though. Made up some lost time. And I don't see any tricks that he's got. I mean, I have back rank problems. That's the big worry that I have to keep an eye on. I can't just give up control of this D file and allow a checkmate because this nail uh, creates some problems. But I think everything's held together here. I'm gonna win the knight. I'm not gonna win it, but I'm gonna trade it. Okay, he's gonna try and pick up a pawn. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna take the knight off the board. He can take that, but I'll get a discovered check. So there's that. And now I can push this. Now he does get this file now, but as long as my bishop guards it, he can force my bishop out. I'm gonna have to create some space for my king to get out this way. I think he's low on time. Might have been able to approach that a little differently. Just take control of that file and then force my bishop out. Now I will come here and I can block the file from here. He pushes this to try and take it. I've got that. He pushes C4. I've got B takes C. So good effort. Think I hold though. Now I just fix this pawn weakness. He can bring the bishop back, but I'll drive it out if he does. He resigned. Good game. Don't have time for a second game, buddy. Sorry. Perhaps we will play again someday. 88% accuracy. I had the edge most of the game. So play through my Alekhines. This is a book line. It's also a book line, but that is a blunder. But even in this book line here, you'll notice that it says white has a 1.3 advantage. White has so much extra space here. Black, uh, just baits white into overextending these pawns. White should not push that pawn. Either knight development is okay. I think this one's preferable. Maybe slightly the kingside knight to keep the queen out of there altogether. And then I take, he takes, and then this c5 push is essential for this opening to even be thought about being playable. It blunts this bishop, restricts it just to this square. So it's a fun opening to play because it does get very, very messy, but that is a blunder for the reasons I already showed in the game. See how I played the rest of the game. Looks pretty good. Okay. Still saying I have a 2.6 edge. I didn't like my fianchettoing y square bishop. Calling that an inaccuracy. Okay. Thanks for watching. I enjoyed playing that one. Tune in for some more chess.